Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. My name is Karen Hall with the Population Health Collaborative. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Population Health Collaborative webinar series. Today, we're going to be talking about National Night Out. So National Night Out is a community building event that promotes police and community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie to make Orleans County a safer, more caring place to live. This free event is a drug, alcohol, tobacco, and violence-free evening focused on enhancing the relationship between neighbors and law enforcement and bringing back a true sense of community. At the 2017 National Night Out event, 600 attendees benefited from a canine demonstration, Mercy Flight tours, 25 local nonprofit service agency booths, a back-to-school backpack distribution, and many other family-friendly activities. Our presenter today is Roland Nenni, Chief of Police for the Albion Police Department. Chief Nenni serves as the Chief of Police for both the Albion and Holly Police Departments. He is currently the SWAT Commander of the Orleans County Multi-Agency SWAT Team. He holds certifications by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services in Police Instruction, Field Training Officer, Firearms Instructor, Tactical Emergency Casualty Care Instructor, Taser Instructor, and many others. He has developed and instructs the Orleans County Active Shooter Response Course. And in addition to all of this, he is an emergency medical technician for over 22 years and serves on many boards and committees responsible for police management and operations. So Chief Nenni, thank you very much for joining us today, and I will turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Good to be here. Our National Night Out, if you look at what National Night Out is all about, it starts back into the 80s when a man by the name of Matt Peskin started basically the National Association of Town Watch, which was the inception of community policing throughout the country. And he started this, and then in 1984, they formed the very first National Night Out, which was held in August, the first Tuesday in August. And in that very first one, it was, strictly law enforcement. They tried to reach out, and if you look at some of the numbers, if you look on the slide where there was 400 communities in 23 states, it was really about trying to get police to connect with their communities. And that's something that, back in the 80s in law enforcement, we were trying to become more of a community-oriented type organization, and that's where that a lot of, terms came out of that, even though that was a lot of things that we have been doing for many years. So that was kind of the inception of it. So in Orleans County, kind of where we came from and where we started was on January 27, 2015, and that's kind of our birth date, if you will, for National Night Out. Pat Crowley, who is the director of the Orleans United Drug-Free Communities Coalition, and before I go any further, I just want to say that Pat is the driving force behind National Night Out. Pat has always been, since its inception, kind of it's the brick and mortar of us. She kind of pushes this along. I, as a chief, get to do, I get to stand up in front of everybody and my shiny badge, and I kind of, get to take the credit for a lot of this stuff. But Pat is really the driving force behind this, or a lot of it. So back in January of 15, Pat and I happened to be at a meeting. It was a DFC, or a drug-free coalition. It was a sub-meeting we had. I'm a member of the drug-free coalition. And Pat kind of off the cuff comment made an inquiry about National Night Out and asked me what we do about National Night Out, or what we do in Albion or Orleans County. And, my response to that was pretty much that every year, we in Albion, we would try to do something. Nothing real spectacular, but we were really community-oriented, and we have been for, many, many years. But that was a night where we had a lot of neighborhood watch groups that we helped found. We had a lot of community outreach things that we had done. So that night, we would try to do something, but nothing real spectacular. So from that initial conversation, Pat and I started talking, and she said, well, what do you think about doing, a National Night Out event and making it kind of a county-wide event? And from that just quick discussion, we started our National Night Out, and it was pretty much Pat and I, and she had an assistant back then named Sarah May, and we've had 2 Sarahs as our assistants through the Drug Free Coalition, and Sarah Stennis is our new one, and Sarah May was our old one, and they are also, we wouldn't be able to do that without them. But it was pretty much Pat and I, and we sat down and we said, well how are we going to do this, or what are we looking to do? So we had questions like who would participate, where would we hold it, what would it cost, do we want it to be more police-oriented since that's what National Night is, what do we do? So what we decided was to make it focus on a community-type event where it would be about police, fire, EMS, social needs, assistance, mental health, drug treatment, you know, anybody that can come to the table, if you will, and provide something to the community, but also give them the window, if you will, to see the community in a little bit different light and have a more of an open communication. So those were the discussions, and we started this in January, and, you know, we talked about how we were going to advertise. Now, we had no money. We weren't really raising any money, so we just, you know, we just started kind of putting it together, word of mouth, flyers. Pat went out to all the park events throughout the summer with the youth groups. And part of the Drug Free Coalition is we have many members of that. So we reached out to them, and basically we said the only requirement we wanted was to provide some sort of giveaway, some sort of entertainment for children, something to give away so when people came to National Night Out, you know, they could be entertained, if you will, and leave with something for children, and you know, so it was just not a bunch of people kind of peddling their philosophy, if you will. So we also put together some police demos, canine demos. We had a bike rodeo. We obviously had our police canines. We had some fire service demos. We had Mercy Flight come, which was a huge hit. We did child safety C-checks that we do throughout the whole year, but we did a station right there. And, you know, and again, it was just this grassroots kind of putting it out there. And, you know, it was really hard was the fire and emergency services that I've been a part of my whole life, that was easy. You know, we could get people to come and, you know, the fire service to come and do their thing, and police and EMS. It was like, how are we going to get these other groups? So Pat really did a good job getting the word out to these other members of the Drug Free Coalition to come out. So some of the flyers we did, like if you look, we had, you know, just a National Night Out flyer we would hand out, and any event that we had going on in the county. In Lyndonville, they have a big 4th of July event. We have a big Strawberry Festival in Albion. We had the county fair prior to that. So we were trying to put as much out as we could. So we were just advertising it. And the Orleans Hub is a local media outlet that's a social, kind of like social media, but it's an online newspaper, if you will. So they did some advertising for us. We put some ads in. So we really just kind of just winged it, if you will, to try to get these people to come together and advertise it. One of the things was food. We had a local social group said they would sell food at a nominal cost, which, you know, we would say, well, we didn't want it, you know, to be pricey. We wanted this to be free, but that was kind of our only way of doing that. So we had a local group, and they agreed to any proceeds they would make to donate back to Bullard Park, which we're in the process of rebuilding the park. So we put all that together, and we advertised it, and then we had over, in the very first one, we had 20 participants, being 20 organizations, and that doesn't include all the fire and EMS. And we had over 200 people, and that first night was amazing because weather wasn't our friend that night. It was kind of dreary and rainy, and as it started, it was kind of sprinkling, and then it just, the weather stopped, people started to come, and it was really, it was kind of amazing because we were stood there, we just didn't know what was going to happen. And I always joke with Pat because well before this started, she had a planned trip to Hawaii, where she was going to be in Hawaii this week, before we even had that discussion in January. So she wasn't there for the first National Night Out. And, you know, at first, you know, it was, I had a little bit of jealousy and the fact that she was in Hawaii and I was standing in the middle of the rain in a park. But then it was more sadness because she didn't get to see that very first night of how we had all these people come. And we had over 200 people just show up and interact, and it was a really nice night, and it was something that really made us see that, wow, we really can do something here. And these are some of the photographs from it. Like I said, Mercy Flight came in. We had several booths set up with all kinds of organizations. you know, from various aspects. And one of the things that we kind of thought is that we wanted people to be able to come to this and make a connection, whether it be with law enforcement, whether it be with fire or EMS, or with somebody from mental health, somebody from public health, somebody from a social service organization. If you had, you know, some sort of issue with drugs and alcohol, that there would be somebody there that really wouldn't be, you know, pushing themselves out there, but you could just make that connection. And we were able to do that first night, and it was really amazing. So after that, you know, we were really realized that we were on the road of something good. So one of the things that we did was we decided that in 2016, one of the neighborhood or the National Night Out organizations that had done things over the years had kind of advised us. It said, be careful what you do, because if you try to make your event big, you're always going to try to outdo yourself the next year and the next year, and it finally gets to a point where you can't outdo yourself. Well, we saw that as a negative, but then we realized it was kind of a positive, is that we always want to make it bigger, we always want to make it better. So in 2016, we decided, Pat and I basically said that, you know, this is growing, we need to get some more people involved. So we held a meeting early in January, and we sent emails out to anybody that was a part of 2015 saying, we're going to have this meeting on January 14th, come help us. And that very first meeting, we had probably 30 people at. Now, as 2016 progressed, like any other thing that happens, that those people started to kind of fall off, and it ended up being Pat and I and a select other group of individuals. But we had some help, and we decided we were going to develop some kind of, not rules, but maybe get some structure to it. So we developed a participation form. So any organization that wanted to be a part of it, we wanted them to, you know, have the information they needed to come to the event, but we also wanted to have a little bit of a regulatory type control, because we were a little concerned that we didn't, you know, we want this to be a non-for-profit type thing. We don't want this to be commercialized. We don't want businesses coming, even though they're there to help. We don't want them trying to make a profit off of it. We really wanted it to be a social type community event. So we developed a form. We had a big discussion about food, and we didn't want people to charge. You know, we didn't want to charge for food. So one of the things that we decided to do was we reached out for donations, and because we really had no way to facilitate money. So we had a local church say that they would do the food for us, and we would get donations, and we had a local vendor provide stuff so we could give away hot dogs and hamburgers for free water. So you could come to the event and really wouldn't cost you anything. The other thing that we did was we kind of focused that year on school supplies, and we had an organization donate bike helmets, so children can come and get free school supplies. And we had a slogan we kind of developed that said, it's a night where a family can eat for free, be entertained, and where there's no alcohol, no tobacco, no drugs, no violence. It's just a fun night, and you could come and eat dinner and have fun, and it wasn't going to cost you anything. So we really started to do that. And then the other thing that we did, which was really, we didn't realize how that would grow too, is something called Battle of the Belts. And in 2013, we had, through the Governor's Traffic Safety Council, in law enforcement, we participated in the Governor's Traffic Safety programs. And the committee came to us, and we, you know, realized that we had a high fatality rate in Orleans County of unbuckled passengers in motor vehicles from motor vehicle accidents. So one of the things that we did was we did this thing called Battle of the Belts, and back then, where it's a contest where 4 participants start on a starting line, they run up to the car, everybody gets into a position in the car, the driver's seat, passenger seat, rear, behind the driver, behind the passenger, everybody has to buckle their seat belt, then they unbuckle and have to switch spots. Everybody has to do that for all 4 spots, and then we record the time. So we did that through all the schools in Orleans County, and we culminated it with, in the homecoming game in Albion in football, we had each school from the county have their best times, and their participants come, and they were awarded prizes. So we said, you know, we should do that at National Night Out. So we quickly did that. We had a couple of people that Nola Cressy was kind of the one that said, hey, I'll take that, and and kind of ran with it, and we were able to put together a Battle of the Belts for National Night Out, and that ended up being a huge draw, and it was a lot of fun, and I have some pictures of it on here. But what we did was we developed this form and basically said, if you want to come and participate, you know, you have to bring your own table. This is what time we set up. It's, you know, it's not for commercial sales. You know, we want you to bring giveaways. We didn't want to turn this into a political event, so we didn't want people running for office to come with all their signs, and we really wanted this to stay as a community type event. And so we developed this form, and we pushed that out along with all the other media. Our flyers, you know, we did, again, the car seat inspections. We had Mercy Flight come. We had we brought some of our SWAT stuff to put on display. We had canine demonstrations, bike rodeo, and that in 2016, you know, we had a lot of organizations to be there. And then we did the Battle of the Belts, and we gave away prizes, and we put different divisions. We had a youth division, an adult division, an education, like a school faculty. We tried to get that type of competitiveness among schools, and then a business and organization. And that night in 2016, this is some of the people that we had as participants. So we had, you know, county health, we had Stop DWI, we had, you know, the Drug Free Coalition, JACASA, which is a huge organization in our area for, you know, drug and alcohol abuse. We had just so many people to come to this, and one of the nice things was kind of our philosophy was the fact that no matter what issue that you may know somebody that has in life, whether it be a mental health issue, maybe it be a drug and alcohol substance abuse issue, maybe it be domestic violence, maybe it's you know, financial, whatever it is, when you come to our event, there's some organization there that you can talk to that develop that connection where when you leave that night, you have some sort of connection with some sort of you know, contact to try to help you through those things, whether it's yourself or it's a friend or a family member. And the nice part is you move about the event and you go booth to booth and there's giveaways, and you're really not being labeled that, you know, hey, I have a drug and alcohol problem, I want to talk to somebody there. Nobody knows anybody as far as what issue you may have or what connection you're making. So when you leave that night, you've made a connection with somebody. And one of the nice things is that in law enforcement, we had this great, and we really didn't realize it until 2016 when we had so many people there, that just the communication that we would get from people and those discussions, and I had probably 10 or 15 discussions with people I didn't even know about law enforcement, about some of the contacts they had with law enforcement, pro or con, some of the issues that they had, and maybe the outcome wasn't like they thought it was going to be, or, you know, some of the things that we did that maybe we can do different. So it really was a communication type night, and it was pretty amazing. So that 2016, and the weather was great. We had, you know, we had over 24 participants, you know, or social groups that were there. That doesn't include all the police and fire. Mercy Flight was there. We had we estimate over 700 in attendance. And we really, it was funny because Pat and I, we were, at one point, we decided that we were going to hand out tickets when people came in so we could kind of get a count so they could get a free hot dog or hamburger. And I looked out into the road and we had traffic backed up for like 1.5 miles, which, you know, caused a little bit of concern when it comes to traffic management, but then we really realized that, wow, we are really creating something good here. And that night, these are some of the pictures. It was just a beautiful night. The weather was great. We had so many organizations. We had so many kids there. And it isn't just about kids. I mean, that was kind of our draw to bring families in. But we had so many organizations that were there, and they really connected with people. And then the Battle of the Belts was really, really fun because we had a lot of groups that would come as teams, and they would dress up, and we had costume awards, and it was just so much fun to watch people and having fun putting their seatbelts on, which is something that, you know, we preach and preach and preach, and we try through traffic management and other things to try to, you know, get that point across to educate people. But unfortunately in law enforcement, our big education tool is tickets, and that obviously isn't a real pleasant thing for anybody. So to promote putting your seatbelt on and having fun doing it, and it was a really fun night, and we gave away an award. And then what we did was we asked the team that won to come back year after year to kind of defend your award and bring the plaque back. We actually had 4 members from the fire service wear their full turnout gear, which was pretty amazing because they actually won the overall time wearing big bulky fire gear. They were able to get in and out of the car and move all the way across every seat and beat everybody, which was kind of amazing. The state police were there. We had the rollover simulator. So we had a lot of things. We had vehicle extrication. So the fire departments got to show, you know, their side of things. We had one fire department that was there that did a kind of a grease fire simulation with fire extinguishers to teach people how to. So we really got a lot across, whether it be crime prevention, fire prevention, the social service type of things. So it was just an amazing night, and it was we had so many people there, and we had so much good feedback. So in 2017, what we decided to do for 17's event was we realized that Pat and I realized that this was growing so fast that we weren't going to be able to, you know, just the 2 of us and Sarah, you know, being our assistant. We had a couple people that were key members in it. We said, well, we really got to divide things up. So we made committees. So in the very first meeting, you know, we had, as we started 17 is that we had a food committee, emergency responders committee, logistics, sponsorship, battle of the belts. And this was kind of the first year, you know, we started to accept donations. So we did some stuff for the 17 event. We started to allow people to donate to us. So we had kind of a way through the Drug-Free Coalition. We started to allow donations to come in, and we could use their bank account, if you will, through their process. So we got some companies to donate, and so we could do the food, so we could do the advertisement, give away the awards and prizes. So we really started to make this thing grow and to get a little bit more fundamentally sound, if you will, amongst more people than just Pat and I. So one of the things that we talked about was, and another kind of slogan we came up with was, it's a one-night event that lasts all year long. And that's kind of our drive, is to make it so, no matter what your issue may be in life, and whether it be, it could be a positive thing that you just want to give back to the community. So when you come to our National Night Out, you can connect with somebody and maybe join an organization or join one of these groups to try to help others. And, that'll carry on throughout the whole year. And if you have some sort of crisis, or somebody in crisis, and you come to our event, you can come and make that connection where you can have something that's going to last a lifetime, if you will. But it's that one night, and we're hoping that that one night makes some sort of connection with, somebody or something, so you can get some help if you need it, or a family member that needs help. One of the big things we still do is our child type things with school supplies. We try to make sure that we have enough organizations that part of their giveaways that they give away are school supplies. One of the previous years we did backpacks. We got some donated backpacks. We got some funding for the backpacks. So every child that came to the event left with a backpack and left with it full of school supplies. So we're really trying to make this, not just a community type event or a law enforcement event or a fire service event. We're trying to bring that all together so when people come that they're leaving with that, they're leaving with something and something positive comes out of that. So one of the things we did for 2017 is that we formed the sponsorship. And so we try to give it that, that law enforcement type theme to it, where you had a chief sponsor, you'd be a sergeant sponsor, an officer sponsor. You could donate to us, and depending on the level, we would give you that sponsorship. And kind of like everything else in the world when it comes to that, the more you give, the bigger your name is, if you will, in print. So we started to put those advertisements out there on our banners and things like that, because a lot of people in the community and a lot of organizations donated to us because they realized how great this was for the community. So this was one of the forms that we developed. So if you want to be a sponsor, and again, one of the things that we do at the committee level is we have a sponsorship committee, is that we would have people, when they would want to sponsor, we have to review that at the committee level, because we really want to make sure that we are keeping this wholesome, that we are keeping it family-oriented. We don't want it to commercialize, even though we are getting sponsors and we're doing some advertisement for private business. But we want to make sure that we're advertising the right type of business. And we really haven't had any of those issues with any type of business that was maybe not as family-oriented as one would think. So everybody's been really responsible that comes to us, that wants to donate. But we make sure that as we're moving along in these things and the donations come in, that we're not making this a for-profit type thing. We're not making this a commercialized type event, and because we really want to keep it as grassroots as we can. So on August 1st, 2017, we had our National Night Out event, and that we had over 30 participants ranging, again, social services. You know, last year's event, and again, in 16, the weather was just unbelievable. Last year, the weather was just phenomenal all the way up until about a half hour before the event, and a storm started to roll in, and we were getting really nervous, and we could see that, you know, we're watching the weather. You know, we had a bounce house set up, and that is, you know, you can't have that if there's any inclement weather. So we were really getting nervous, and a lot of people were pulling in, and it was getting, you know, we were starting, as we were beginning the night, we had a thunderstorm roll in, and it was kind of skirting the edge of the event, which is held at Bullard Park in Albion. And we did see a lot of people, unfortunately, kind of leave because it just looked like we were just destined for a big storm. And we believe, and again, we were just trying to do rough numbers. We really don't have any way of a main gate where we count people. We actually have a participant has a drone, and we flew a drone, and we tried to do some counting from that. But we figure that we had roughly 700 to 800 people last year. Now, we did lose a few when that weather started to come, but then all of a sudden the weather kind of cleared up, and it ended up being another great night. And even though it wasn't you know, the sun wasn't shining like it was in 16, we had a lot of people. It was our biggest night ever was last year as far as the number of participants as organizations that were there. And these are just some of the organizations we had last year. This is our current list. Now, there are some on the list that came that might not be on this list, and you know, so we might be leaving somebody out, but we really had a wide spectrum of people, our organizations that were there. And one of the things that we still to this day, that kind of the pitfall that we have is that even though we try to advertise it through our local media, we try to get the flyers out, we try to get the word out, you know, every year after the event, we always have an organization come to us and say, you know, I really would have liked to be a part of that, but I didn't know about it. And we really don't know of any other way to get that out there, because the very first year, it was just Pat and I kind of running around asking organizations, and we would kind of roundtable things. And even the day of the event in 2015, you know, Pat and I, you know, we would talk, and, you know, prior to her leaving for a trip, we would, you know, we would think, oh my God, did we miss somebody? And then, you know, that day I thought of a couple other organizations that we could have asked to come that could have been a part of it. So it's really grown, and I think this year is going to be probably our biggest year ever. And it always seems to, it's hard for us to tell as we're moving forward. Like right now, we're almost to June, and we're a couple months out, and it's, you know, it grows really in the month of July. It really grows. But if you look at the list, I mean, we had, you know, so many different organizations that were there, whether it be, again, for mental health, for drug and substance abuse, public health, you know, if it's crime, it's fire, it's healthcare, it's, you know, library. We had some literacy things that we did last year that the whole library was a part of that really, you know, we had books we gave away. I mean, there was just everything that you can imagine in life. If you come to our event, you'll be touched by something. So the sponsors that we had that really helped pull that off, we had a lot of sponsors, and, you know, they came through and donated money. And what was really nice about how our sponsorship worked is that we put advertisements on our flyers, on our banners, you know, of the sponsors. But a lot of these sponsors that are on this list, they really didn't ask what they were getting. They really didn't ask about, you know, what do I get for my $500 sponsorship, or what do I get for my $200 sponsorship? What kind of advertisement or mileage am I going to get out of this? Pretty much, everybody that's on this list here wanted to donate because they knew it was to a great cause, and it was really going to help somebody in some way, in some shape or form. And that is pretty remarkable because, as the committee, as we sit and we talk and, we sometimes in the committee level and in the sponsorship committee and Pat and I, who are the co-chairs of this, we sometimes will find ourselves going, man, are we doing enough for the sponsors? Are we really putting their name out there like we should? But deep down, a lot of these sponsors know that in their heart, they're giving to a cause that's going to touch somebody's life. And they really don't want anything. I mean, they know their name's going to get put out there and we're going to promote them the best we can, but they're really doing that because they want to help somebody just as much as we want to help people. So this is the list of our sponsorship, and a lot of these groups, now that we can take money, a lot of these groups back in 16 and 15, when we were taking money, they were donating things to us. I had an organization that I went to, was actually the Lindenville Lions Club. Back in early 16, I did a presentation for them for it, and they wanted to cut a check right there on the spot. They were like, "This is great. What do you need? We'll give you money." And we really had no way of taking money. So what we asked them was, just buy some backpacks, buy some water, buy whatever, and bring it to the event. And that's what they did. And that's what's really fun about this event is it's a grassroots kind of everybody comes together, and we just try to touch lives. So this is the 17 event. Like I said, the weather, as we started setting up was really good, and then all of a sudden, I mean, this looks all beautiful, and this is the way, if you look at these pictures, it was just a great day. And the picture on the left, that's Pat on the left, and that's Sarah on the right. That's the driving force of this, and I can't give them enough credit. And it was just a great night, and then all of a sudden this storm started rolling in, but it kind of skirted us, and we were able to have a really fun night. And this is the firemen came back, and they did their Battle of the Belts. The picture on the top right, that is the Albion School Superintendent with some of our officers standing behind him. And then the group on the right is one of the groups that was the Battle of the Belt contestants. And, they dress up and they make it so much fun, and it's just so much fun to watch, the competition. And it's all for fun. And, we give an award for the slowest time. We give an award for the best time. But it's just so much fun. And then Mercy Flight, they're a huge draw. They come, and everybody loves the aircraft, and they love being here, and Mercy Flight's been a huge supporter for us. Although the helium balloons weren't the best fan of Mercy Flight when they were coming in, so that's something we really didn't take into account of. But so the event really was a huge fun night, and we had a youth group do the Battle of the Belts, and we really had a lot of people there, and it was really it was a really culmination of all our hard work over the years, and we know that it's going to continue to grow. And 2018, this is as of about a week ago. Sarah provided me the up-to-date list. These are the organizations that are going to be at National Night so far this year, and that's a huge list, and it's continuing to grow. So this year, it's a 2018 event, which is August 7th, is going to be our biggest as far as the participation goes. And when I mean participation as far as organizations being there, I think it's going to be the biggest that we've had. We're reaching out to more and more, and through word of mouth, it's growing. So the nice part about it, too, is that especially when we get into the school giveaways and, when families come to our event and youth come, they're going to leave with all kinds of things. Some of it are little knickknacks and, some of the things that organizations give away. But a lot of them and a lot of organizations give away, school supplies, things that people can really use in life. And that's what's really neat about it, is that not only are you coming to this event, but you're leaving with something. You're not only leaving with those contacts that you've made, but you're leaving with school supplies. You're leaving with something that kind of help you through life. And that is really cool, and that's something that we're so proud that we've done. These are our sponsors so far, and again, this list will grow as we really start making the push. It's kind of hard for us too. One of the other pitfalls is, when do we advertise? Do we advertise early? Do we advertise closer to the event? You know, we try to time it out because we want to make sure that we're getting our point across that this great event's going to go on, but we don't want to do it too early where people forget about it. We don't want to do it too late where it's too late to plan. But our sponsorship list will certainly grow from this. This is our current sponsors, and they have you know, donated money to us to help this cause. And you know, this year's it's gonna continue to grow, and it's gonna continue to build. This is our basically this is this year's event. It is going to be held at Bullard Park again. It's on August 7th. Starts at 5:30 p.m. We have a Facebook page now, which is Wayne Litchfield does our Facebook page. Does a great job with it. There is a lot on that page. There's a lot of the previous year's events, a lot of our sponsorship, a lot of our organizations that are a part of it. So, you know, if you want to reach out, that's our Facebook page. The Battle of the Belts is on there. You can also YouTube Battle of the Belts. It's kind of a national thing, and see, it's a lot of fun. So if you look at some of the contact that's on here, there's Sarah's contact, Pat, and I. Sarah, like I said, she's the mortar that holds all the bricks together for us. She really takes care of all these needs that we have through the administrative type things, and she really does a good job organizing things for us. So she's the one, if you have, you know, you want to donate, if you want to participate as far as being an organization, you need more information. Email is the best way. We do have some phone number contact, but to be honest, email is the absolute best way because then we can push things back. But that's Sarah's email, and then Pat Crowley and myself, those are our email addresses, and you can reach out to us. Anybody that wants to be a part of it, anybody that wants to attend and just ask questions about it, you know, it will be, you know, you can just contact us through email, and we can get back to you with anything you need. Our event, like I said, it's not an Albion Police event. It's not a drug-free coalition event. It's not it's everybody. It's everybody in Orleans County that wants to come together. We have a lot of school officials. We have a lot of people that come from all over the county that come to this. We've actually had some people from outside the county that have heard about our event and have come to it. And, you know, like I said, National Night Out in the beginning was all developed around law enforcement, and we really have taken it to the level where it's not about anything other than a fun family night where you can make connections with anybody and about anything in life, and that is what's really remarkable. And I can't give, like, Pat and Sarah enough credit for all the work that they do behind the scenes, and you know, and it's really amazing that, and again, a credit to our community, not to Pat, not to I, not to anybody that's on the National Night Out Committee, but it's a real credit to our community that we have such a huge event that started from nothing, and still essentially, even though the donations help us great because it all goes back to the community, but it's just a credit to our community, our county, all the people in it, whether you're just an attendee that comes to the event and, you know, you come there and you enjoy the night, or you're a participant with some sort of organization or law enforcement or fire or EMS. You know, our emergency services in the county is a big part of it. We just all come together one night, and it really doesn't matter what hat you wear or what patch is on your arm. It's just a night where we all just come together and have a great time. So our event is pretty remarkable. When it comes to other National Night Out events, it's a little bit different, has a little bit different flavor, but it is it's something that I know that I am extremely proud of, and I know Pat Crowley and Sarah and all the other participants that are on it are so proud of. And I'd like to go down the list of all the names, but undoubtedly I will leave somebody out, and I don't want to leave anybody off of that, but there are so many people that help us and so many people that are a part of this now that we really wouldn't be able to do it without all that help. But at the end of the day, our names don't matter, our organizations don't matter. It's all about helping somebody in need, and I think we've done that. And, you know, in law enforcement, you know, we kind of have that cliche, if you will, if we save one life, then we've done our job. Well, in this type of event, you know, that is kind of our philosophy too, but we believe we're saving a lot of lives. We're saving them both, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, or any other need that we might have. And, you know, lastly, you know, the Sophie Awards that every year we've been nominated for a Sophie Award, and it's kind of funny is those different categories that we have in those awards, which is all through public health, we can pretty much be a part of any one of those awards because we cover pretty much every single thing in public health that you could essentially need. And last year we were nominated for the All-Star, and we didn't win, but, you know, which we were just honored to be there and be a part of all those groups. But really we encompass everything. So that's pretty much all I have on our National Night Out. And, you know, if anybody, again, contact us if you want to be a part of it, if you need more information, and if you want, you know, us to help you with maybe doing your own National Night Out in another county or another organization, you know, we'll be more than willing to sit down and talk about some of the things that we learned and sometimes the hard way. But, you know, we're real proud of our event. And that's about all I have.
Okay, thank you so much, Chief Nenni, for presenting. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know that this is the second time that I've heard Chief Nenni describe it. Actually, not even the second time, more than that. And every time I watch it, I just get inspired, and it just seems like it is so much fun. And it's a perfect reminder that population health efforts does not necessarily mean that you have to focus on tobacco cessation or obesity prevention. It's all about bringing the community together to leverage resources to improve overall population health. And this is just such a perfect example of that. And when you said that for the Sophie Awards and you cover everything in public health, that's absolutely correct. You've got everything in one spot, in one night, in a safe environment where the community members are coming out, and it really is a phenomenal event that I think should be replicated definitely throughout here in Western New York. So I hope that folks got something out of this today, and I would encourage anybody to please reach out to the chief if you wanted to start a night out event in your community. So we'll give it just a little bit more time, and in case anybody wants to enter any questions into the chat box. But as a reminder that this webinar was recorded, and it will be posted up on our Population Health Collaborative YouTube page within about, I would say maybe 24 hours. Well, it's a Friday, so by Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday, it will be up on our YouTube page. So please check that out and pass it along to your networks. And I'm not seeing any questions coming in through the chat box. So we'll just give it about 10 more seconds in case anybody has any comments, questions. Okay, well, since nothing is coming through, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us today, and a very special thank you to Chief Roland Nenni for taking the time out to present to us today. And I will wish everyone a very happy Friday and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.